I guess, you're talking about moving to Costa Rica, and there are some Bitcoin bubbles in Costa Rica. There's bubbles all over the planet now, and they're growing. And Me Premier Bitcoin has their curriculum now in 21 languages. What would you like to, and the thing that I'm really drawn to by the people, the Bitcoiners that have come down here, is they're like, how do we help? How do we give back? I see they're a little different than the crypto people. Some of the crypto people are just sort of get rich quick, buy a Lamborghini with whatever Dogecoin. Mm-hmm. The Bitcoin people that I've met here, not that people don't want to make money, but they're very much, I see more like, how do we give back? How do we go build this? How do we help the locals? And you and I were talking a little bit on the car right here. So like, how would you like to give back? How would you like to contribute? You were talking a little bit about being in Costa Rica and coaching. And
yeah, we
got to talk about coach, because tell everyone who you are from the lineage of coaching.
So sports, we didn't get into sports on this yet, but so my grandfather is a guy named Gillespie. He's literally arguably the most, as coaches know him, people don't know him because he coached at a division NAIA school. But he was, there's been 2 books written about him. He's literally one of the greatest coaches in the history of coaching anywhere at any time.
Isn't he the winningest coach in like Illinois?
He was until the guy passed him. He was the winningest college baseball coach of all time. He won 1,900 and plus games. A guy finally passed me, like 88 years old. Here's 2 stories about my grandpa really quickly. In 1997, and I believe he stopped coaching in maybe 2010. In 1976 or 77, I think it's 77. 1977, he goes 35-37 in baseball. So he's 2 games under 500. Okay. That's the last time that he had a losing season from 1977 until 2010. 33 years in a row, coaching 2 sports, football and baseball. He was not under 500 for 66 seasons in a row. And I think in 110 total seasons, he had 6 seasons under 500. And then he was at Joliet Catholic, which which is a big powerhouse in football. They won a bunch of state titles there. He was coaching that team and coaching a football team. Like in a 7 or 8 year period of time, he won 3 College World Series and 5 football titles, like in 10 seasons. One guy. And when they would play at Catholic, they would win, like at the end of the year, they would be like, total up the scores. Joliet Catholic, 230, other team, 16. Like, I mean, so that's my grandfather. Then my dad was a college baseball and basketball coach. And then now my brother is the women's basketball coach at Illinois State. And my uncle coached at Florida A&M, and my cousins, the women's coach at Illinois State. So just sports, like my whole life.
And one of the things that you and I connected on is we're obviously we met during comedy, then we both like talking sports, and then your coaching lineage in your, and I learned, I never played organized basketball. I played pickup basketball, and we were in Chicago in the 90s when the Bulls were just dominant. We watched a lot of basketball. And I always say I loved watching basketball with you because I learned so much about the game, because you're like, oh, they're running a screen. That's a triangle offense. It's a pick and roll. And they're doing. I was just like, wow. And then I met your dad, Coach Gillespie.
It's unbelievable. Like his knowledge. It's just.
I was like, I always said, if I ever did a movie where I played a basketball coach, I would hire your dad as a consultant.
yeah. Because he's all the funny, like, Bob Knight without throwing the chair and without all the terribleness of Bob Knight. But that's what he was like. Storming up and down the sidelines, giving the refs a hard time. Wildly successful coach. Everybody else in the league hated him because he would beat everybody all the time. It was just, it was a lot of fun. So one thing about giving back is I never got to coach and never got to do it because I took a different journey and did stand up and did what I do now. But I love sports, and my son's 18 now, and I loved coaching him. So one thing, basketball is the 2nd most popular sport in Costa Rica. So I thought when I go down there, it'd be really fun to set up, to have for free, just to have kids come play basketball. And what do you need? 5 basketballs in a hoop and 10 kids, and, teach people jab step and, ball screen and, and just teach the basics of the game to 10-year-olds.
Passing. Yeah. Just those fundamentals, like team basketball. Dude, you got to do that. That is awesome because that's something too where you can get people to participate. People would be like, "Oh, I'm donating. They need shoes. I'm sending you a box of shoes. Like, what do they need? Jerseys? Like, we should contact the company that makes this Hodlers International, and they make this jersey. You can get them out of they're ship out of Canada. So they ship to Canada and the US. They just made a new basketball jersey. Anyway, I'm getting way ahead of myself, but like, you would be an amazing youth basketball coach. And the kids would just be like, and you know, I know your family and stuff, but like when you just now explained your grandpa, I'm like, I always go, that's right. Like you're Gordy. I knew about your grandpa before I met you.
Yeah. Yeah. I've had grown men. I have one of his jackets, one of his baseball jackets. And I'm shoveling snow and the jacket on, I go shovel snow. I had a guy pull over in his car and said, hey, like like, where'd you get that? And I go, oh, it's my grandpa. It's Gordy Gillespie, my grandpa. And he literally said, is this going to be weird? Can I hug you? That's what he said to me.
When I played Pop Warner football in the 8th grade, one of our plays was it was called the Joliet Catholic Rite. Like we took out of that playbook, everybody knew they were unbeatable, unstoppable in high school football in Chicago. I mean, when I played high school football at Evanston Township High School, you know, Chicago area high school football is a big deal. I played games in front of 5,000 to 6,000 people. Like Bo Schembechler was at a game my brother played in, but everybody knew who your grandpa was.
Everybody knew Gordy, yeah.
Everybody knew Gordy. Everybody knew Joliet Catholic. In Chicago they call it Joliet Catholic. Yep. But I mean, in the movie Rudy, somebody plays your grandfather.
Yeah. Yeah. Rudy played for my grandpa in high school. So Rudy went to Joliet Catholic, and it's a guy plays my grandpa. It's right in the credits, Coach Gillespie, and a guy plays him, and it's amazing. Yeah. Here's a good story about it. My grandpa was actually upset about it a little bit in the movie. Did you hear the story?
Yeah, you told me. Tell the story though.
So in the movie, if you remember, if you haven't seen Rudy, it's a good little film. But it's about, people don't know, this kid Rudy. Later on, he was kind of just told he was dumb. You're just dumb. You're just a dumb kid. Well, he had ADHD and dyslexia and had, you know, a learning disability. But he always had a dream of playing football at Notre Dame. And everybody told him, you can't do that. You're from this, you know, you go work at the oil refinery, dipshit.
Yeah, you're too small.
You're too small. Yeah. And, at 6'2", 210, not Notre Dame. Right. You're not 6'4", 280. You can't play there. But it was his dream, and nobody ever believed in him. And my grandpa sort of was one of the people, it wasn't just him, that said, you can do anything you want to do. Mm-hmm. So but in the movie, Rudy's arguing with his brother in the movie, and his brother is telling him, this is a stupid dream. You're never going to be able to do it. You're never going to be able to make it. And Rudy says something like, that's just because I don't remember the exact thing, but you've never been tough enough to understand this. That's why Coach Gillespie always said you were a pussy. And when my grandpa said that, he saw that. He just said, he was so upset because he's like, I've coached for 62 years. I've never called a kid a pussy my entire life, not one time. So that was what my grandpa, it was too bad because, he's such a marvelous person. And just to have it in a film that he called a kid a pussy, really affronted his sensibility of, because if you know Gordy, that's he's literally, if you're the dumbest kid on the planet, you can do it. The best you can do is get C's, you get C's. God, nice, great job, man. That's awesome. He was one of those people. Right. And, he would never have said that, but it's just funny that that's, that's what came out of Rudy for him. He was pretty upset about it. So, yeah.
Well, that's awesome, man. This has been a cool conversation.
Are we going to stop? We can keep talking.
I know. Well, we'll keep talking at dinner.
All right. Excellent.